Hello, everyone. This is Nomish, and my name is Maxi, and we are excited, very, very excited to announce this brand new series called The Creator Diaries. This episode in particular is called My Niche Crush, and this is where we take a deep dive into the life of a content creator. The tips and tricks, their journey of how they got started, all the insights, everything. It's going to be incredible. And what better to start off the series with an incredible content creator named Clara. How are you doing today?
Hi, very happy to be here.
Amazing. So, if people didn't know you, could you just like run us down with, who you are, where you're from, and like what it is that you actually do?
Okay, so I'm from Ireland, originally from Dublin, but I'm living in Carlow in Ireland, and I'm 41. I'm old enough to remember MySpace, Bebo, and the very early days of YouTube. And YouTube was where I got my first taste of being a content creator. And I had a couple of videos maybe 16 years ago that did really, really well, like 800,000 views, 600 views. And I got really freaked out. So I then held back on creating a lot of content for a while and then dipped my toes back into it again. I work as a musician and an actor, so I've always found social media great to get myself out there and get more work. And in the last few years, I've also had social media clients. So 2 years ago, I worked for St. Patrick's Festival in Ireland, and I've also worked for other arts festivals. I was the social media manager for a very well-known Irish actor. Don't know if I can mention them. They're a little bit older. Um, so I've been kind of involved in all different areas of this social media world. 3 years ago, I was going through chemotherapy. I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. And I decided to document my journey back to health on social media. Initially, I was a little bit scared about doing this because I thought I'm self-employed and I still want to work. And this was just before COVID really hit the world, before the first lockdown. So I was like, no, I want to work. I don't know if I want to put this out there to the world, but I did. And it actually helped a lot of people. I had women contact me that told me that they got their breast cancer diagnosis through my videos, through self-checks and then going to their doctors. I also had other women tell me that my videos, my tips and tricks of me going through chemo, what helped me help their recovery. So that meant a lot to me. And then with UGC, I just accidentally fell into that last year. I had somebody actually from the UK, a guy from Scotland emailed me, and I thought, this has to be a scam because I'd never heard of UGC. I'd heard, I suppose, of user generated content, as in like fans and just real people doing reviews and then companies repurposing that. But I didn't know it's another way that me, as I suppose, I'm quite a niche influencer. I didn't know it was a way that I could make money.
Wow, wow. That's incredible. Like the journey from, how you've gotten started and all of the people that you've influenced and, how you've been able to, turn something like breast cancer and, help other people, deal with, what they're going through, which is, it's really incredible. So just a bit more on that. What I wanted to know is what are the kind of like challenges that you face? Because, when people are trying to get started into content creation, they're riddled with maybe fear, anxiety, being in front of a camera isn't everyone's comfort zone. So for you, what made you have that leap to decide that, I need to show people my story or be in front of the camera? Like what was that for you?
I think initially it was, as I said, I'm 41. So initially it was MySpace. There wasn't much content creation on MySpace. I think you're probably too young to really remember it. Some people tried to mess around with their backgrounds. That was kind of as far as it went. But a lot of musicians were discovered on it. And I put some music up on that. Not much happened with it back in those days. But I made a lot of friends and contacts even from back then. And MySpace kind of made me feel like, I don't know, it was this amazing buzz. Like the world is so much smaller through social media. And I just really wanted to put my songs out there. And then my first YouTube videos, which I've actually deleted, they were so cringe. They were so pretentious, but they were meant to be tongue in cheek. They were called Video Diaries of an Artiste. Ugh, like horrible. And it was just me talking really fast. And as you can hear, I talk very fast because I didn't know how to edit back then. And I would just talk really fast to the camera and say about like going to auditions, what it was like as a struggling jobbing actor, that sort of thing. And people were commenting. Some people really connected with it, but I got a lot of trolls. And that's the thing that stops a lot of people from putting themselves out there, you know?
Yeah, that is really important. Ignore, like, it's really difficult when you see like 800,000 views. Like, that is a lot of people to be, watching your
Yeah.
video. So, talk us, maybe go a bit deeper in that. Like, what was that like? I know it must have been really nerve-wracking, like you're saying, to see so many people watching your videos. And I'm sure you probably got an array and mix of comments. So, a lot of like young creators growing up are like really struggling when it comes to like mental health, and there can be a lot when it comes to people's impression of you, especially online. So maybe how did you deal with that? How did you deal with like that constant kind of presence on you?
I think I was very lucky because when I started doing those videos, I was 24. I wasn't in school or college. I'm very lucky that when I was in school, the phones were quite primitive back then. Not everybody was able to really film each other or upload videos. There's so much of that, even without people's consent. Somebody can take a photo of you or film it and just upload it, and anything could happen. That's quite scary. But there was crazy trolling, because if you have a video that has 800,000 views, I think the reason I was getting so many views is because nobody was really doing what I was doing. So it was like, what is she doing? So some of the trolling was that I was too thin or that I was too fat. I was 24, saying that I looked 50. Some people saying I looked 12. Do you know what I mean? So it's like one extreme to another. So really, it was just trolling for the sake of trolling. And a lot of the time, it says more about the person that's typing this, especially when it's anonymous. It's crazy. But I have talked to much younger people that are in school and college, and they've said to me, oh, I really want to post videos too, or I want to post videos more often, but I'm scared of they're scared of what their peers are going to think about them. And I tell them, just do it, do something small. And especially, I now do a little bit of consultancy, and I talk to small business owners. And if they don't want to put their face on camera, maybe they're comfortable enough editing a video, a few little clips you can edit easily on CapCut or InShot, and doing a voiceover. There's different ways that you can create content. You don't have to be the face and the voice.
Right. And you know what? You made an interesting point there, because you've said that you've done UGC, you've done acting, you've done consultancy. Your day must be crammed with so many different avenues and different kind of things that you're doing in the day. So when it comes to content creation, like, how do you make the time to, sit down and obviously, if you want to use natural lighting, for example, the sun's going to go down at a certain time, or if you're not feeling motivated, how do you manage to fit that within your busy schedule?
Oh, I'll be honest, I don't. It's that in itself is an art form. I'm trying to get better at it. I do try to do content days, and I've done that for clients as well, where I will batch create things and then edit them at a later time. So, I mean, I try to be as real as possible on social media, on my own social media, and with UGC as well. But it's hard, sometimes, no, a lot of the time, actually, I don't post things in real time. I do vegan food reviews as well, and I will post that maybe like a day later or a week later when I have time. You have to not put too much pressure on yourself, but there is a little bit of a thing with UGC. There's deadlines, and a lot of brands, a lot of agencies, they like somebody that's used to, dealing with a fast turnover. And I actually got my last UGC gig was through one of my acting agents, and this was a bit weird. They said, somebody has pulled out at the last minute. We know you do UGC. Can you do this for us? And it needs to be on 5 o'clock today. And I do a little bit of working at events. And I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm working at an event right now. I won't be home till late tonight. And they said, if you get it into us early in the morning. So I had 2 hours to film 5 separate videos, different backdrops and different outfits. And I also didn't love the scripts. So I had to say to the agent, this is not UGC. It's very heavily scripted and too prompty to the audience from the beginning, that people are going to scroll. And those first 2 seconds are so important. Your hook on UGC is so important. So I had to do some script rewriting, costume changes and everything within 5 hours, and slight edits and get them off.
Wow, that sounds intense. So what I want to ask you, just to round off, one last question is, you've been talking about how, you started during MySpace, and now, we're in an era of like TikTok, and, loads of different new social platforms have come up. If you had to give yourself like a love letter, or like one final note that you can remind yourself and tell yourself from the beginning of your kind of career until now, What would you remind, the old Clara from back in the day? What would you tell her that you've learned from that whole experience now? Maybe some words of advice or some comforting words.
Ooh, oh, it's hard to be brief with this, but a huge thing that I've done, and I'm sure other people do, is talking about things. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that without actually doing it. And you need to take the first step. And if you fail, so what? You'll learn from it. And then another thing was me being too afraid. When I started to have lots of views, I was too afraid and I pulled back. And it's much harder to get views on YouTube now. The YouTube Shorts, that's a whole other story. But yeah, I don't know. I think stop telling yourself, I'm going to do this. I'll do this when, I'll do this if. Just do it, And I'm a massive believer in, your thoughts create things, manifestations, that sort of thing. But you need to take a step of inspired action. So you need this spark of something. And if there's fear, just go with it,
That is incredible. So, I think it's really, what you've said today and, this conversation, I'm sure has inspired a lot of people. So just to round off, I want to say a massive thank you to you. This has been the Creator Diaries with the incredible Clara.
Thank you.